All right, so POE2 is finally out, and I've always been a minion player, and I started off with minions, and then I moved to a sorceress to get a sense of how each class is playing comparatively, so I could get a better idea. So I got a 22 witch right now, infernalist now, and a 20 sorceress, and I'm going to give you my opinions on the class and what's going on with minions in Path of Exile 2. So first off, I'm going to be looking at my notes over here because this is, doing it fast for recording purposes as the game just came out and I want to continue playing. So first off, I just want to say that the beginning of playing minions is absolutely horrid. You're not a minion player. You're forced in the game, if you want to have minions, to run scepters. So you're going to be running a scepter right away, which gives you your 2 free minions, gives you 100 spirits, so you can run a couple other minions that you have. And right away, your only options are is sniper and skeleton warrior. So you're running around with these, and your minions die to a fart in the wind. Like, they will die to anything. They are so weak that they cannot kill a white mob on their own. Your whole group will have trouble killing a white mob on your own. You're basically needing to kill everything yourself, and also gimping yourself by not being able to get more elemental damage and things like those for your actual damage itself. So you feel like you're half of a class. That's how starting off with minions feels. It is absolutely garbage, and it feels bad until around level 10. Why does it start getting good at level 10? Well, around level 10, you will unlock Raging Spirit, which is it's pretty much like it is in POE1, except it comes from using AoE fire spells. So you're limited to a few fire spells, but none work as well as Flame Wall. So you're pretty much pigeonholed into using Flame Wall with Raging Spirits to summon. In 2 clicks, you will get 10 minions, and these Raging Spirits are stronger than all of your permanent minions combined. So they are now carrying you. So that is the point where you will actually start feeling like you can do some things on your character. Let's go to the passive tree and make what makes minions really weird comparatively to POE1. If you notice, a lot of these nodes are minion increased life, increased defenses, a lot of them. Whereas in POE1, you would be getting hardly any. You would get maybe like 4 minion life nodes or something, ones that like gave you a ton just because they're a point, and you can grab them because they're on the way. But you are almost specifically always getting minion life nodes. Minion damage nodes. Whereas in POE2, you kind of have to change up your idea of how minions are working, and you need to get life nodes and revive nodes like as soon as possible. And after a couple of levels and a minion helmet, your minions will actually start living a little bit longer. Now, I'm only level 22 or 23, 22, so I'm not sure how it's going to fare in in-game, but this is completely different than the rest of the tree. And I'm so confused on how this is going to work, because if you look on the tree, there's not very many. There's a few life nodes for you as your character. Like, there's a few that have like 3% increased life, and there's like maybe like 4 or 5 of them, at least in the witch tree area that I've looked up here. Not even 4 or 5. There might be 2. So you're not getting any life nodes for yourself on the tree. So if you're playing like a sorceress or something, you're getting just tons of damage nodes, duration nodes, all this stuff. And then you look at it, and there is a ton of increased maximum energy shield just everywhere, and increased energy shield regeneration and all this stuff. So it's so confusing to me, because you have this opportunity to really pump up your energy shield numbers, but not your life numbers. I'm just saying that. So most other classes are getting mostly damage nodes on the tree, where as a minion build, you're pretty much forced to get tons of life nodes for your minions so they don't die right away, which makes it so that when you're in the beginning of the game on a minion build, your minions are just not, they don't even exist, and you're specking into these minions is just pointless. So you can't even start off as any kind of summoner. So let me just give you an idea. Spoilers for Act 2 here, beat Act 1. So if you don't want to see that, click away now. So let's go to an area that's around my level right now. I don't even know. Here's, yeah, gates. I don't know which area still has monsters. So let's just go to one that's level 19. So it's closer to my level, or, yeah. And I'll show you what I've done so far that I've made work, and it's pretty effective, to be honest. So I have my 2 skeletons just from the scepter. I had just enough. If you get 1 increased spirit for your scepter, it's going to give you enough that you can have 3 other skeletons. I've found personally that the arsonists with scattershot, which gives them multiple projectiles, and then the increased area effect, because I'm fairly certain that these are shotgunning. I think that shotgunning works in POE2, but without damage numbers, and I haven't had enough time to really figure it out, but it seems like it's working. So yeah, your basic idea here is to run around with these guys, drop some flame walls, which summon these guys, and you just, it kills stuff pretty well. It's not like crazy clear or anything, but it will get you through. You can notice my minions aren't just immediately dying, but like they last, a good 5 seconds, already all dead to what, 6 white monsters? So yeah, that's how great minions feel right now, aka not good. And that is with, let's see, 1, 2, just 3, 4, 5. Like all these, like half of my nodes are minion health nodes. It doesn't matter. They just die in seconds. And you can see the damage comparatively to other classes, at least from the sorceress, is not that good. In addition, we have raised zombie here, and that will give you another temporary minion at 20 seconds. So we're running on mostly temporary minions here. Now, we have unearth as well, as you get level 1, that will spawn those little crawlers from corpses and stuff like that. So we have yet another temporary minion. What does this mean? That on bosses, we don't have zombies. We don't have crawlers. We're stuck with these guys, which die in 1 hit. What happens when they're dead? You don't have any damage. You don't have anything because your minions are dead. You're stuck with whatever is on your main hand weapon, which is just garbage because you don't have any points put into damage itself. So you're effectively not a class 95% of the time in a boss. What is a saving grace? It's this. It's summon raging spirits. You're not a minion player. You're a summon raging spirits player, no matter how you build your character. Now, if you want to actually do good damage for your class, you also need to use Paid Offering, which, impales one of your minions and gives an AoE buff around them, which is a really good buff. Like let's see here, it gives 30% increased attack and cast speed, 30% more damage to all your minions. So this is huge. It does take one of your skeletons away, and as far as I know, like it is targeted. So if you have these good minions like these arsonists here, like you don't want to target them, you want to target your bad skeleton, and it just targets whatever your mouse is around, and during a heat of a battle you can't really do that. So yeah, that's how you play your class. You don't have this fantasy of a kind of, like a necromancer from other games where you have this army of minions and you're running around killing, your minions are killing stuff and you're picking up loot and it's great. No, that was too simple for GGG. They wanted to add more interactivity to necromancer, which I get because that's what every game has done. That's what Diablo 4 does. They make it so that you have to keep, that buff up on your minions. You have to curse your enemies and stuff like that because they want necromancers or summoners to feel like other classes do, that need to cycle through all these abilities and movements and stuff. But then when you think about it, no, they don't. That's what they think happens, but that's not actually what happens. For my witch, for example, you know what I press? I press 2 buttons, usually just one. I like just clear button, and then I dodge roll. That's it. What do I have to do if I want to play correctly on my minion build? I need to keep up temporary minions by targeting corpses and then checking over here to make sure that they're alive. Then I need to keep my flame wall up and, you know, calculate how much I have here. Then I need to use my explosive demise from my minions to explode those to get more damage. Oh, while keeping up my spike on my character. And I only have arsonist. What if I wanted to get a sniper too? Then I would also have to keep my poison arrow as well. Like all that stuff just to play less good as other classes that have like 1 or 2 buttons to press. So they're overcomplicated. You don't actually get to play as your class because you're just a summon raging spirits. Will this get better at higher levels? I'm not sure because I'm not there yet. I'm just saying how it is in the beginning of the game. But you know what? Leveling up in the beginning of the game and stuff is a huge part of the game, especially for like new players and stuff. Like I'm not having a good time on the class to let you know, because of all these things. I don't feel like I am a minion character. I feel like I'm a summon raging spirits, flame wall, run around in circles, not being able to use any of my abilities. Now, another thing that we're going to have to sacrifice here is this node. All bonuses from an equipped amulet apply to your minions instead of you. This is going to be huge. Like that is how you're going to tailor your minions to be how you want. That's going to give them resists. That's going to give them life. That's going to give them crit. Because if you look, there are a ton of critical nodes for minions, but their inherent bonuses aren't that good because they don't have gear, you know? So you're really going to need to beef up their natural stuff, which is going to come from your amulet. And amulets are huge. Your rings and your amulets are your big money makers on your character. At least they were in POE1. I don't see why they wouldn't be in POE2. Let's already look at this one I have. I got 44 max life, mana, cold resistance, and 28 energy shield. I mean, that's not crazy, but for level 22, that's really good. Like that's a lot of life and energy shield. And energy shield is actually really good in this game. In fact, I'm going to be building this character around energy shield because if you look at the passive tree here, we have these nodes that reserve life, and I'm going to be guaranteed to be reserving at least one node, which is changing maximum spirit for life, and that reserves 25% of your life. That's just too good. As a summoner, you need that to be able to summon more minions. So there goes 25% of your life. Why not sacrifice another 25% to get one maximum energy shield per maximum life? And then half your life's going to be gone, but there's a ton of energy shield nodes and energy shield regen and all this. And I think the energy shield is kind of going to be the way to play. But that's going to be taking a lot out of it and life, because you're not going to have your amulet because it is so strong for minions. And you can see other games that have failed on this as well. Like biggest example I can think of is Enderall, that giant Skyrim overhaul kind of thing, where you sacrifice so much damage because if you choose to be a phantomalist, because you need to summon a phantasm and that takes your necklace away. So yeah, just from a class fantasy standpoint, this sucks. I have an army of minions that die to nothing, do hardly any damage, and everything is just SRS again. If we look at POE1 though, it's basically the same thing. POE1, you can get summon summon zombies at, you know, mud flats, which is, you know, level 5 maybe or something like that. But they die so quickly that there is literally no point in ever doing it until much later in the game. Same at level 12 when you get your summon skeletons. You can't do that. What do you play? You play SRS, because SRS it's a spell that it just happens to be minions. So you don't get this class fantasy of having an army by playing minions right now. You get the class fantasy of, just as in POE1, as playing summon raging spirits. I mean, that's that sucks because the other classes, like when I'm playing my sorceress, you know, I'm casting spells. All my items that I get are used to do more damage with my spells. All the passives that I get are used to increase the damage of my spells. Whereas in Minion, like, I'm just getting Minion health nodes, and like the Minion health nodes themselves. Why is this autofocus not working? My Minion health nodes, just, that doesn't feel fun to get those, because it would if it made them tanky, but it doesn't. And I also have a helmet with +1, you know, level of Minion skills and all this stuff. I'm sure that there's other ways to get Minion skill gems, like probably on your scepter, maybe on a weapon or something like that. But if you don't get them, they're even more squishy. And if, you know, on other classes, their gear matters a good amount too, but if you don't get plus skill gems on those, which is like a rare roll, you just kill a little bit slower. Whereas on a minion build, no, you're just not doing anything because your minions die. And that's the difference, is like, rather than take a little bit of extra time to kill stuff, instead you are just not being able to do anything because your minions are dead, and your only saving grace is SRS, or Raging Spirit. And if that didn't exist, the build just doesn't exist, because you have this little support gem. It's a spirit gem that takes nothing. It's like 30 spirit, and that 30 spirit does more than all of everything else that I've done in the entire game and combined. I get what they're trying to do. I get they're trying to make, you know, the class feel more interactive, but that's not what Minion players like. Minion players like to feel like you're controlling this like horde of zombies and stuff that are doing your bidding because you've studied the dark arts for so long and you can, you know, do all this stuff. Instead, make it so you sacrifice like your health and your life or something to summon these things or something like that, and you have to play more carefully and like be more meticulous on how you build your character and stuff like that. Not making you spaz out and play like a billion buttons like you're playing some kind of assassin or something like that. It's just not the same. So yeah, that's my basic idea. I'm gonna check it out once I get you know, the next the Summon Reavers come up soonish, and from I've heard through the grapevine that they're pretty good. And then you get the Cleric way higher. I wonder how much they're gonna heal for. I wonder if we're gonna get Life Leech for our minions and stuff. But like, as it stands, they have GGG has implemented so many temporary minions that you can't summon, because boss fights have like what, maybe one phase of enemies, like little spawns that you could get them up, and you're so busy dodging stuff and like, you know, casting your SRS or curses or like keeping your bone suffering offering up, that you don't even have time to summon these other temporary minions, which all the other temporary minions, like, look at this zombie, look how long it takes to get out the ground. That was a full like second and a half. If I do that anywhere in a boss arena where you're not constantly moving, one AoE, boom, dead. So I just wasted a global to summon nothing. And same with your skeletons. Like when they pop back up, they have an animation coming out of the ground, and like, you know, they all pop up and they die while they're being popped up, and it's right back to being in reviving mode. And you got to put all these nodes into like making your minions revive faster. And like, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't like feel like, oh, it's so great that when my minions suck and they're dead, I can make them come back out faster and suck more faster. Like, and I'm gonna have to get so many. By the time that you actually get all these nodes of like, you know, all these elemental, like so many elemental resistance nodes, chaos resistant nodes for your minions. By the time that you actually get those nodes, you're gonna be at the end of the game already, and you're just gonna have this horrible time leveling up. And I'm wondering, because SRS is so good, that GGG is like, yeah, you know, you're SRS, you don't get to play minions until the end game. Like, it's so dumb. And they could change this by boosting the damage and health of minions at lower levels and scaling it off later. Like, so it feels good to play minions right away, so you don't have to like be basically a useless character for 90% of your leveling journey until the very end, where you finally put all these points in, because it doesn't feel like you're actually making your character better when you don't see the results. Like, I put in all these points into like health nodes or whatever, and this is just so far, and they don't feel any different. Like I cannot tell. Like if your minion has 80 life and you get like 50% more life and it has 120 life, like it's still gonna die in one hit. So it's like, cool, you gave it 50% more life, hell yeah. No, because the numbers are so small that they're still just gonna die in one hit, and it doesn't matter. So it's useless putting these points in. It's useless doing anything, because if you put it in damage, cool, your minions do a little bit more damage, but they're still gonna die in one hit, so it doesn't matter. So it's useless of putting health in. It's useless of putting damage in. You're just an SRS bot right now. But yeah, so that's what I think of minions in POE2 right now. I think they look really cool. I think the ideas are cool that we have like all these different kinds of minions and stuff like this. But I hate having to sacrifice, because what happens when you sacrifice? Oh, you walked away because you're going to the next screen. Cool. It's still got a 6 meter radius, so it's like it's not a buff that like travels around with you like in POE1. It's like you have to be planted in one spot where you're like, okay, I'm gonna fight here for a minute. So they say that fights are going to get quicker later on. You're going to start clearing screens later on, more like POE1. Well, then this is completely useless, and it's so good. You're giving the option to give your minions this much power, then they must be built based around that. So then you're just gimping yourself by not staying in one spot, and it's just, yeah. I'm hoping that it changes later. I'll do an update video, and that's about how I feel right now. I hope you guys are enjoying POE2. I think I'm going to switch over and play my sorceress for a little bit, because I was having fun with her. I really like how clear cut it is to build a a sorceress, because you have all these very defined things like, oh, you want to be a lightning sorceress? Well, put your points into lightning. And you want to play mana? Put your points into mana. Whereas like a infernalist, I'm like, yeah, I want to be minions, but like I got to put my points into my minions crazy so they don't die in 1 second, which they already do, and then I got to get like specific gear like that's very, very specific just for me, and then I don't get any points to put into myself. Like I can't get increased energy shield. I can't get like all these things because I need to throw them into minions to just make them continue sucking. So it's just, it's so frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna stop ranting and go play the game. I'll see you guys later. Bye.